Hey everyone, today I'm super excited to be joined by Joel from Warp Bond. Thanks,
Oh,
Joel,
such a
for
pleasure.
joining
Thank
me.
you.
And Joel is the project lead over there. And Warp Bond, I'm super excited to talk about. It's a new GameFi protocol, lots of exciting things. I actually have to say thanks because I've been covering a fair amount of these, but you guys, your project makes this so much easier to understand the different planets as staking pools, the NFT ships. It's just super exciting. And that's why I'm excited you were able to join me
Awesome. Yeah,
today.
thank you. It's a pleasure.
So cool. So maybe you could do a brief introduction on who you are, and then maybe we could go into what an overview of the
Yeah,
project
absolutely.
is.
So quick background on me. My name is Joel. I'm one of the project leads here on Warp. My background, I worked in visual effects for about 10 years in Los Angeles. I worked on a bunch of Marvel movies, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, then did X-Men First Class, then a bunch of other movies, and then transitioned from working in post-production to production. So then I was working in camera department, on location, on set, on the sound stages, all that sort of stuff. Before then, people found out I could do visual effects, and so they were like, "Oh, why would we send this job out somewhere else?" I was actually working on a Chrysler commercial, and the with featuring Bob Dylan, and the emblem on the car broke off. And I was like, "Oh, I can do that." And they took the plates from the camera, put it in, added some reflection maps, and then it was there. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, we want to work with you." So then I started a company with my college roommate, and we worked in LA for another 5 6 years. We transitioned to VR in about 2013, in the early days of VR LA. So then actually worked with Oculus, YouTube Red, Octonauts, Lego, another project for Disney doing VR, before then moving to where I am now in Oregon. I worked for an advertising agency, did a bunch of big commercials and all that sort of stuff, and then finally kind of found my way into crypto and was like, oh, this is amazing. And now I work full time in crypto.
Are you 100 years
I
old? Because that seemed like 10
It
lifetimes or
feels like,
something like that.
like Los Angeles, right? Like there's a lot to do in that city. There's a lot of opportunities, and so yeah, it feels like life gets condensed pretty quickly when you're working on projects there. So it's fun.
So yeah, you worked on a bunch of exciting things. So obviously, Warp Bond is the thing that you have your, what you're giving your
hmm
focus on right now. So what makes it so exciting and
Yeah, and
captivating?
also
That
like all the
uh,
all the starships that I've done, 10,000 unique starships, all the partnerships we've done, those are all me. Did all the graphics for that. That's being able to use my 3D skills and all the stuff has been a lot of fun. So building that sci-fi procedural starship generator has been, uh, it's like, man, I could actually do this. This is really cool.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. I checked out what they obviously I've checked out the ships, things like that. But yeah, some of them are very interesting, very different. I think that's really cool. The
Thank you.
quality there. So kudos to you. But yeah, maybe you give a quick overview on what the project is, like what's Warp Bond, and kind of how yeah, that all
Yeah,
works would
absolutely.
be great.
So our project's called Warp Bond. Website is warp.bond. It's little alpha for you guys. It's going to change to warp.game here shortly, but we're pretty excited about it. So basically, what we did is we re-envisioned a lot of DeFi elements inside of a sci-fi metaverse, and so we take the idea of bonding and treasury growth and all those sort of things that people are relatively familiar with, and then we wrap it inside of a lot of game elements and gamification, in the sense that right now, like for our first season, because we have seasons in Warp and we're rolling out different features at different times as a complete package. So our first season of Warp, we introduced a lot of DeFi elements, like the idea of being able to stake tokens, and then we have multiple staking pools that all accept the same token, and you can travel to those more lucrative staking pools with a NFT starship, and you can earn that NFT starship through bonding. So, and we're shortly going to be releasing it where you'll actually be able to buy starship parts directly. So you assemble 3 parts, a hull, a bridge, and engine, and then you fuel it using a fuel cell, and then that allows you to travel between planets that you can stake your tokens. But very soon we're launching, actually in about a week and a half from at least the recording of this video, we're looking at launching our starship battles, and that is where you'll actually be able to engage your NFT starship that you made in a battles with other players. That all happens on the blockchain. It's super cool, and we're taking those core elements there, and we're adding those game layers so that you have a starship that can travel to different planets and help you earn a high APY on staking, but then also you can use it to engage with other players. And then we're transitioning in season 2 into adding community factions, where you'll be able to join a faction by signing a transaction on the blockchain. That'll give you access to certain planets or restrictions of certain planets, send your starships out on quests to be able to go out, and we have a lot of high-level partners who we're working with. Your starship can go out and maybe get tokens from another project, get NFTs from another project, bring them back to you. We have Starship Racing that's coming in season 2, and so basically we're taking kind of a long-term growth strategy with our gamification elements to allow people to be able to come into kind of this little metaverse that we're building, and then engage using that NFT itself, using that starship itself to do a lot of things inside of our ecosystem. And we yeah, I mean, I think that's all it is. I was gonna think I could keep going, but
No, that's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. No, there's a lot there. Yeah, I love the idea, and I'm going to say this out. You guys obviously make all these concepts really easy to understand. My community, even myself, is fairly new to the crypto space. So the idea that you're making these concepts, like the concept of different planets, and I think you guys have like 3 planets right now, and I think
Yep.
more is unlocking in the future. They'd all have different APYs and use. There's different ways you have to use a ship to get to them, but that simple concept just makes it easier to understand, because how others do it are just like, oh, this is this fold, and then it's like a bunch of random letters or like tier or whatever. But this makes total sense and kind of are easier to grasp. Just the concepts are easier to grasp. So I think that's awesome, and I think it's a good idea, right? Like the idea of each planet has different APY. You need the ships to get to them, and then I think I even saw that you could even like rent your ships out or sell your ships and things like that. So there's that like ecosystem, but there's also things that you're doing as well. Like I was watching, someone did a video on it where they said like, oh, even though if everyone leaves Earth and no one's staking there, there's things that happen on Earth that make the APY even go up, so it makes it more lucrative to come back. So just those concepts are like, oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like if everyone's leaving Earth, then you kind of maybe want to be the last person on Earth, because that's where you get the most benefit.
There's
So,
a lot less people. I mean, that's one of the cool things. The economy is being driven by user actions, right? So if people are unstaking from the second planet to go to the third planet, that means there's fewer people on that planet. The fewer the people, the higher the staking rewards, right? And that's just, the whole staking dynamics multi-planet ecosystem is really just a part of our that's just one of the things that you can do with your ships. A lot of projects, everything revolves around the token, right? What is the token doing? What is the price of the token? All that sort of stuff. With us, everything revolves around starships. You get a unique starship, you build it using parts, you name it, and then that starship it can be upgraded. Not right now in season 1, but you can upgrade it with additional parts. You can choose its strength. You can upgrade its speed. You'll be able to add other cool things, weapons, long-range scanners, all that sort of stuff. But then also, with our marketplace, we have an internal marketplace where we'll be able to search for starships. You'll be able to buy the parts that you need directly from other users, all of that sort of stuff. So we have a vibrant secondary marketplace already existing inside of our ecosystem. And the cool thing about all of that is that, we multi-chain has been a core component of our ecosystem for a very long time, and we actually announced this in our live stream yesterday. So before, I couldn't tell anybody about it. I'm going to tell you guys. One of the things for us that's really important is making this narrative around the ships and making the narrative around the idea of a multiverse. A lot of people are building metaverses. We're building a multiverse, and what we're doing in that regard is we're calling each different chain a multiverse, right? So, or a dimension. So if you want to head over to the Ethereum dimension or the Phantom dimension or the Binance dimension, whatever it is, the cool thing is we are introducing an element that is not widely known yet. We're very excited about it, where you'll actually be able to send your starship from one chain to an entirely different chain, and then that starship will travel through the dimension, through our warp gate into that new chain, and then we'll be able to actually start to integrate multi-chain elements throughout our entire ecosystem intentionally. So you'll actually send your starship. Right now we're on Polygon. That was where we launched, right? It's not where we're staying. But you'll be able to send your starship to the warp gate over to the Binance chain, and we might be running a specific event on the Binance chain. Maybe there's a specific bonus if you enter your starship in one of the starship races happening over there, or to the Phantom or to the Avalanche chain. And the cool thing is having that own internal marketplace where you can buy, sell, trade starships. With Starship battles, your starships will be, if your starship wins, you'll be awarded stars, and then those can be turned into medals, and those stay with the ship. So you can actually win a prize-winning starship, and the more wins that a starship has, the higher its chances of continuing to win. It gets a little bonus as a part of its, we call it the Luke Skywalker effect, And so having like all of these things that are kind of being incorporated in a multi-chain environment and game elements, sending your starships out on quests, all that sort of stuff, like everything revolves around these NFT starships and not, just a token. Right, and that for us is exciting. Like for example, we can launch. We're planning on launching a iteration of Warp on Ethereum, where you will be able to, buy, sell, trade starships, but there's not going to be a token. There's not going to be staking. Why? Because Ethereum's expensive. Everybody knows it. But we can actually have an NFT presence there where people will actually be able to buy their NFT starships on Ethereum and then actually send them to another chain and participate in the DeFi or the quest or the game elements on another chain. And that's just super cool. You guys are the first ones to hear the whole plan laid out, by the way. So congrats on this perfectly timed meeting.
Yeah, definitely have to check. Definitely have to check out. I was looking at your Twitter. Yeah, you had that AMA and things like that. I appreciate you sharing all the information. Definitely sounds super exciting. I think someone at Warp Bond is watching The Expanse.
Yeah, right.
Like
I love that
idea
show.
Of warping to other universe and stuff like that. So definitely an awesome idea. Maybe you could talk a little bit. I need to rewatch that video. I'll put the link in the description about your live stream that you guys talked about. Maybe talk a little bit about, because I forgot to ask about this in the beginning. Maybe talk a little bit about the development team that you guys have. I know there's obviously. I would assume you don't do. I assume you do a lot. I assume you don't do everything.
God,
but
no.
maybe like just like generally where people are came from, like from other projects, or you said you had a background in animation, things like that. So just so my community knows kind of the
exactly. Yeah, so we all come from a long-term staking project called Axion. All of us on that team worked on that project for a year. Awesome project, a lot of features, really cool community. And so we all learned how to build a community, how to maintain a project, how to integrate things. But that project we inherited, and we looked at, okay, we want to build a new project. So one of our partners is Polydoge, is a guy there named Jordan. He actually gave me this great piece of advice. It's like, when you're investing in a project, you don't buy the project, you buy the team, right? And that for us is really important because good teams build good projects. So we've all had about a year of experience working together. We have our own internal Solidity developers. We as a team have been audited 4 times by the top 4 auditing firms, Hacken, Certic, Solidity Finance, and Halborn. And every time they come back and they go, man, you guys write really good code. And so for us, working in Solidity is something we're very familiar with. That's how we built there's 17 contracts working together in the Warp ecosystem. It's very complicated, but it's all, we're almost a month past launch and everything. We haven't had a single exploit, a single bug. It's been great. And so background on the team. So there's me here. You guys know me. We have Dead Poet. He's awesome. He manages multi-million-dollar TV contracts for the Olympics and Eurovision and all that sort of stuff. We have our Solidity developer, T Deli. He's been building Solidity contracts forever. He's a really incredible developer, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. We have a lead algorithm and economics guy. He literally is a mathematician. He knows math. He knows economics. He builds our staking mechanics and our algorithms that the contracts use. We have our own internal front-end developer, Jordan, who we built a custom interface. Our interface doesn't look like anything else. It's not a copy-paste. It's brand new, built specifically for Warp. And then we have a whole staff of moderators. We have community developers. We have our social media marketing expert, and then our advertising guys. So all in all, there's about 14 of us, 14 team members who are working together, and all of us have, we've all bonded together. We all know how each other thinks, so we can work through this stuff really well. So, for us, our confidence in ourselves is really great, because when other people are, talking this out or whatever, or they maybe need to hire out, to find somebody to do something for them, especially, maybe you have a cool idea for crypto and you don't know how to program it, so you have to hire a third party. Like, we're really fortunate to not have to do that. We have kind of everything we need in our team. I'm really lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of great projects form from working together on previous projects. They're like, okay, they kind of just randomly join. They're like, hey, let's do something together. We like working together. Let's start on a project. I think a lot of startups in the tech world end up like that. Like, hey, we have our own idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
our way, and I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I was looking at some of the ship names and stuff, and I saw one named Polydoge Hercules
Yeah.
today or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, there's some interesting names. I like the idea that people can name that
Hmm.
whatever we want. Some of them are, I think they're clearly just putting their Telegram names on there, something like that. But I like that idea of just making it like
Hmm.
unique and naming whatever. But yeah, I'll definitely put the link description for everyone to check these out. I know now I'm bouncing around just because of my own
No worries.
curiosity. How much ships are left,
Um,
or like maybe like the supply, or how does that?
Yeah, so we had a total of
Yeah.
10,000 ships in our first season. Originally, we were going to allocate all of those ships to Polygon, but because we're going multi-chain a bit faster than we expected due to, I think I didn't get to mention this. I'll brag a little bit on our team. We actually were able to successfully send one of our starships from the Polygon chain to the Binance chain and then back again. And all of its information, its images, its statistics, its fuel, its strength, where it was made. The kind of cool thing is people haven't noticed it yet, so here you guys go. But we have on our, if you go on OpenSea and you look at the starships, you'll see an origin attribute, and all of them say Polygon. And the cool thing is, you're going to start to see starships from other chains flying to different chains, parking at different planets, coming up for sale. You're like, oh, hey, that starship was made on Binance. That's really cool. Or that starship came from Avalanche, or that starship came from Phantom. And we're going to have, these different, entirely different starships fighting each other from different chains. There'll be chain exclusive starships. So you'll only be able to get that starship on that chain. But talking about starships, I believe right now there's about 6,000 left, and we're actually going to be taking some from the Polygon pool and putting them on some other chains. And so, once these starships are gone, that's going to be that's going to be it, at least for a while, right? And so the secondary marketplace is going to increase. People are going to be wanting to buy, sell, trade starships because that's the only way to participate in our ecosystem until we do another open up the Starship factory. So the cool thing is you're not just buying an NFT, you're actually assembling the parts, trading parts with other people. You can choose how strong your parts are by how much you bond right now. And that's cool. So if you want a stronger Starship, you can bond at a higher value. And for right now, at least at this moment, you get both warp tokens and a Starship NFT, but that will be changing very shortly, where you won't be getting tokens. You'll be able to buy parts directly, but it won't come with tokens. And so the ecosystem of getting these parts and then actually going to our interface and actually assembling them and wondering like what starship am I going to get, and then seeing it come out and then being able to name it's really cool. We want people to have a sense of identity with these ships, and with our seasons we've kind of planned out to season 4. So we're midway through season 1 right now, looking up to season 2, and as season 2 launches, we'll be looking at season 5. We're thinking that long-term vision. But these starships are going to be the thing. So if you get like a shuttle class, for example, it's my favorite class. It's represented in all of our key art. That shuttle class, there's only 1,000 of them, right, in the entire ecosystem. And so at some point, the shuttle will be the OG, like it's the original ship, and people will want that in our ecosystem because that you can't get it anymore. It's gone. And we think that's cool. There's also rarity attributes, the standard NFT stuff, rarity, what did the randomizer pick and when it created this starship and all that sort of stuff. And it's fun. We want people to feel attached with these ships. And when you're engaging in starship battles and your starship takes damage, you'll need to repair it in order to make sure that it can continue to fly, it can continue to fight, it can go on quests, all that sort of stuff. And so we want people to feel that need, but then also creates an interesting secondary market. Let's just say your starship is just like completely destroyed, you don't care about it anymore. You can put it on our secondary market through our uh, marketplace that's built into our ecosystem, and somebody can get a cheap starship, and then they'll go in and they'll actually spend the repair points that they need to get that starship back up and running. And so kind of that narrative, in a sense, of here's this broken cheap ship, I'm going to repair it, is cool. It's a cool meta narrative happening inside of all of the other things that we're doing.
Yeah, I think like the experience of the ship of the NFT, like I always think about like, uh, an NFT that's either traveled to a ton of planets or done like when you release quests, like they've done over 1,000 quests, you think like, oh, this ship is very like valuable, it's very
Hmm.
experienced. And then if that ever goes on sale for whatever reason that they put it for sale, they're like, oh, they could see
Hmm.
everything that that ship has done and they would value that more. But it's really up to, that you give them the parts, you let them make the ships, and then see how the ships do, like whether it's how much they've traveled or what they've done, and then the value of it is determined based off the player
Hmm.
ecosystem, which I think is really interesting. And I love I got to do a video of my own where I'm gonna drop parts and then make my own make
It's
my own
pretty
ships.
cool. It's really rewarding
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
to see that ship come out and be like, this is my ship, you know, and I'm gonna do cool stuff with it.
Uh,
So we're excited.
yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. And some of the ones that have been created have definitely been
Mm.
awesome. So definitely have to check that out. But yeah, I've obviously have asked you about. I know it's coming up on your roadmap. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how my community can be involved
Mhm.
in this project. I know obviously they could grab a ship and things like that, but even as something as like joining the community, giving feedback, anything
Mhm.
like that, I just want to make sure my community knows how they can get involved with
Yeah,
this project.
absolutely. I mean, definitely, we love people coming in and being a part of it. You know, one of the things that actually was my favorite. I love the art. You know, you guys can see these ships. They look really good. These aren't just like, quick Photoshop jobs. Each ship, when it's rendered, it has accurate reflections. You know, the lighting changes. I mean, it's all ray traced, right? When I render these all out, they all look really good. But one of the cool things we did is we invited artists in our community to come in and create a starship, or to create use their artwork that they had made. Maybe it was a painting, maybe it was something new that they created digitally, whatever. And we actually ran a contest where the winners actually got their own custom starships minted with their artwork on it, a one of one, completely unique ship that they'll get to keep forever within our ecosystem. And so we're very community oriented. We love that sort of stuff. We're actually about to run a lore contest. We're going to be starting doing lore inside of our universe that we'll be featuring on our Git book. And so, people have suggestions or thoughts. Like, we love all that sort of stuff. That community collaboration is really cool. So definitely come. I mean, our Discord is hopping. We've got 17,000 people in our Discord. You can mention us on Twitter. We got almost 20,000 followers on Twitter. Like, we're working to be a big community. But we also have a lot of community partners. If you go to the partners tab on our page, you can see we're partnered with some amazing DeFi and NFT projects. And when you come to our Discord, you can actually self-assign the role of the project that you want to represent. And so we have people from a DeFi project on Binance talking to an NFT project on Polygon, talking to an NFT project on Ethereum, and it's all kind of happening in our Discord. And I think that's really cool. That's kind of cool that we can be kind of this metaversey mixing pot for all these different projects. And we're proud of the fact that we've gotten some really good key partners and the stuff that we have long-term building with them. So definitely come be a part of our community. Make sure to mention us. Let us know, where you guys came from. That you guys came from Goalorious, and we want to have that community aspect be something that's very important for us going forward. I forgot to mention there's a Telegram group too. It's a bit smaller, but there's a good crew over there as well. So.
Yeah, I think people have been doing Discord and Telegram. I think it
Hmm.
makes most sense, make it wherever. But Discord, I think, definitely has a lot of functionality. But yeah, I think the partnerships are like super important. I think like any successful project should be like, hey, rather than the mentality of, oh, we're going to be able to do everything ourselves, is doing these partnerships with, I'm looking at all the ones that you guys work with, and definitely some big names. So I think that's awesome. Uh, yeah. Is there, and I don't want to ask for spoilers or anything like that. Is there like a time? I know, like, all my questions seem like I'm trying to
Listen,
keep
I am the
spoilers out of
leakiest
them.
person on the entire team. Like, I cannot keep secrets.
Uh,
So.
I, yeah, I would assume with season two ships, there's probably going to be different types
Mhm.
of ships, right? I think you were saying that like the shuttle is the OG, but I see all the other different types. I assume season two would have even more different types
Mhm.
coming along, right? So you could kind of differentiate between, okay, I have a Viper, people know that's season one, but I would assume season two has
Mhm.
different types, right?
Yeah, we
Um,
may, there may be a small allocation of ships for season two, but at this point it's relatively unlikely. We're thinking that there's going to be some reward ships where there will be ships that are only given out through
oh,
rewards
cool.
participation in the ecosystem. Season 3 is going to introduce a new class of starship. We're going to, so Season 3 is going to introduce the idea of faction battles, multi-ship battles. This will be where everybody is actually fighting each other, on the blockchain, which is really cool. When you think about like an MMO or something like that, everybody's all networked together, you're all doing stuff, in real time in a sense with a slight delay. On the blockchain, it's submitting transactions, right? And so because we're working to stay decentralized, we don't want to host our own servers where people are connecting and creating accounts and all that sort of stuff because there's money involved, right? We want everything to be very secure. But we're working to actually build out a strategy where you'll be able to come in a multiplayer environment and actually be fighting multiple ships together. But we're also going to be introducing capital ships. Will be an important thing for us. So these are starships that are harder to acquire, but they're big. And then with that, Season 4 is going to introduce an entirely new galaxy, and we're going to be creating long-range carrier type ships where actually you'll be able to own one of these starships, or your faction that you're a part of will own one, and you can load your NFT starships inside of the carrier ships. So literally those NFT assigners get, or the NFT location attributes get paired up with the carrier ship, and then you'll be able to transport ships all the way out, and maybe even introduce something like a paying mechanic where maybe you do have one of these ships and other people will pay you to take their starships to new universes and stuff like that. So there's a lot of
different ways. So I always say that's good that there's different ways to be
Mhm.
involved, and there's no like one way, like one strategy. There's a lot of different ways which will appeal to a lot of different people, which I think is awesome. I think that's obviously a great idea. So and like I said, like there's constant ways for you guys to expand and do more things. But yeah, I think it's a great I think it's a great idea. I'm probably gonna have to keep you after this to ask you for
Of
some tips
course.
on
But I'd love
which
to
ship
come back
which ship
too,
I should
if you
which
guys
ship I
have, if
yeah,
yeah, if you guys have questions,
yeah.
if your community has questions, you want to, I mean, I'm happy to come back anytime, hang out with you guys. Really fan of your channel and everything you guys are doing. So, I think,
Thank you.
yeah, let's keep it up.
Is there anything last that you wanted to mention? Maybe like what's coming up? Like I know that as you're saying season 1, like do you have dates on like season 2? Yeah, I know like the planets unlock
hmm
over a certain time. I think like the 4th one has been unlocked. Is there any like rough dates around that one that's going to
Yeah.
be coming? Just kind of like placing us, because I know I wish I was there. I don't know if those shuttles are still available, but I'm trying to place my community into like the
hmm
timeline of Warp and seeing like where
Yeah.
we are. I know it's still very, very, very early
Yeah,
on and everything, but
we're
I just
early, but
just
the cool
wanted
thing
to.
is when we drop a season, the season itself is feature complete, so it's not like we're like, oh, we're deep into development on season 2 right now, but it's not like we're just like, oh, like we're gonna keep adding feature after feature. Like no, when season 2 drops, it's like poof, a whole bunch of features, a whole new economy, all that sort of stuff, and that's important for us. So the development always continues. Little alpha for you guys. I mean, the big thing is everything revolves around the ships. The ships I'd say right now are the most important things to acquire, and make sure that you have at least a single ship in your inventory, because that is what is going to be when we launch on another chain and we introduce the warp gate and we allow people to actually send their starships into another chain. People who have ships right now are going to have economic advantage over the people who don't, right? The people who are assembling parts, the people who are trying to get starships, all that sort of stuff. So having a ship in your inventory, having it fueled, having it ready to go is definitely an important strategy for everything that we're doing. Even more, I would say, even more so than the token itself. We want people to make money. We want them to have fun doing it. We want to introduce all these the GameFi protocol elements. But the price of the warp token itself, we're not expecting the warp token to just freaking moon and go all over the place. The economic fun is going to be in chips. And people are talking about, oh, maybe we're entering into the big bear market and all that sort of stuff. And the way I see, like the way I look at bear market stuff is like, well, if I'm going to be in a bear market, I might as well have some fun, right? Like if everything else is just dropping, everything's in the red, and I'm just holding tight and bunkering down in my little crypto shelter, I might as well have some fun while I'm doing it. And having these starships and being able to battle other players, being able to send your ships out on quests, do starship racing, all of that sort of stuff is going to be fun ways to play, have a chance to earn rewards, grow your starship's reputation. We have a leaderboard that's going to show here's all the ships that are, the top winners for this week and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, we might as well have some fun, right? While we're doing this. And we as a project team are like, we're going to be doing everything we can to make sure it's safe and secure, right? Because it's a blockchain, it's all built on blockchain technology. But then also, to make it fun, make it a game. And I think that that's kind of a really cool intersection of different pieces. So there's my my spiel for you guys.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds awesome, and literally like this project sells stuff. Like I'm super interested in it. I'm like over here with my calculator calculating how much dye it costs right now because I'm definitely gonna pick up some of this myself. Is there a limit on how much ships
Nope,
one can
there's
own?
not actually on our map. We have 12 ship. We have a spot for 12 ship icons because then we run out of room. So if somebody has 12 icon or 12 ships
Nice.
docked on one planet, listen, you should probably send a starship somewhere else. You won't be able to see them all, but there's no limit. When we were in our test environment, I had like 22 ships or something that we were, just deploying and testing all the crazy use cases. One thing I will mention is that the strength of your ship is determined directly by the quality of your parts, and the quality of your parts is determined by how much you bond. So I'm not telling everybody they have to go bond crazy amounts or anything, but there are
I
people who
see.
are, if you do $1,000 bond, not only do you get $1,000 of tokens, which is good for you, but then also you get that 1,000 value starship part. And so if it's a strength, if you have a bridge piece and it's a strength of 1,000, now your ship has 1,000 points in strength. When for starship battles, that will come because your ship will be more resilient and tougher to take down, right? If you have it in speed, right now in our it's live in this current environment, is if you have a fast starship, if you have 1,000 points in speed, then your starship will actually be able to travel from planet to planet faster, and it will also be better in starship racing, right? So everybody can come in and they can buy these low level parts and just get a base level starship, and that's fine. You can do everything in our ecosystem with the base level ship, but the more you invest in your ship, the better opportunities. Speed is going to come into play for quests as well. How long it takes your starship to go out and return from a quest to bring back tokens or NFTs or whatever it discovers out there is going to go faster if it has faster engines. Um,
Yeah, I'm keeping I'm gonna publish this video later after I buy this, but I'm looking at this Medius docked ship with 5,000 speed.
that thing's a
Hopefully that's
beefcake. That would be an absolute beefcake of a ship. Uh,
His Medius docked 5,000 speed, but then like the strength isn't as high
mhm.
as some of these other stuff. So that's cool that there's like this balance there. Anyways, I could talk about this for
I
days.
could too.
I'll definitely have to do a follow-up video on. I'll have to do a follow-up video. I appreciate your time. I don't want to take up all your time. I'll put all links in the description. I definitely want to probably do another follow-up to
Absolutely.
show you guys the ones that I grab and do all the parts and kind of all stuff. Definitely exciting. I definitely want to keep following along with the different seasons. And like I said, I'm super excited about this project, and hopefully you guys are too. I'll put the links in the description for you guys to check out. But if you guys have any questions, put them in the comment. But Joel, thank you.
It's a
I
pleasure.
appreciate your
Thank you.
time. We'll keep in contact. But thanks everyone for watching. Catch you guys
Bye.
next time.